Now, there's different ways of doing this. Now, I'm away from her on purpose because right now I'm looking at the relationship to the femur and to the spine, okay? So right now I'm just examining in a sense. My examination means it's very slight. I'm going rotation into the knee and back. So that's over dramatic. This is where too sometimes you'll see me and you go, but she's not doing anything. I'm this subtle. If you want to make this big of a change in someone actually rolling over, look at where you need to initiate the move. So just like going down the spine, I'm going down her whole length of her femur, her whole seam of her outfit, the whole 9 yards, however you want to look at it, whatever is easier on your visual memory. So all I've done is awaken it. I've said this is where I want to be, however you want to look at this. The thigh bone's connected to the knee bone, I've just said that this is where the lesson wants to be. With that, I'm now going into the back. My intention will be how the leg is attached to the back. Hip dysplasia, femoral torsion, whatever you, scissoring, all of these spastic, low tone. So now I'm coming into the pelvis. Again, politically correct. Now, I call it the diaper factor. If it's a kid, I say it all the time. Oh, heck yeah, I'll be in here into the thighs and totally go around the sit bone. I can't with her. She's a full-grown adult. So I'm around her. My hand's here. I'm around the hip. This is a really important lesson to get. You do not want to grab in here with Frankenstein fingers and rip this out. It does not feel good. You're just around, again, a nice caress. Watch my arm do most of the work, and I'm going to just see how she presents. Move my arm a little bit. But see, at this point, I'm starting to feel a little bit of a tension in the knee. Again, when I say tension, it could be, but I just want you to notice too how her foot's coming down. You want to see it on a nice healthy system. Now see how her arch a little bit heel floats. On a healthy system, you're going to see that foot present into the floor. This is where you'll really see the difference of too much AFO work. If the foot's going to stay in this position and want to slide. Okay? So if that's the case, maybe just a couple up, but see, now I'm putting tension on the knee. See how the knee is not willing, if I keep going, see how the knee doesn't want to flop up. So I'm just going. And this is just as important with someone for head control, but you'll see that conversation in a second. Now her femur's starting to slide, but what I'm going to do here now is now I'm coming into play here. I'm coming underneath the leg, I'm going to come in here just like we did with the chest cavity, and I'm seeing, look at how I'm rotating exactly with the leg. My knees are going down even to take the counter of the leg. This is the first time maybe one of your kids has never experienced or ever experienced a lift or a rotation through the pelvis in a leg lift. Especially with such subtlety. So see, I rotate, going down and around. Now if I find someone having an issue with this, I might right here, putting my hands on the pelvis, look at the counter. I'm going to ask, this is a little bit harder on a hard table, be very gentle here. Don't be like, oh, she said bend the spine. I'm just tilting. So I'm twisting down. Tilting. Ah, look, but see, that's a crawl. Now, if you've never crawled before, sometimes these kiddos don't know what it's like to have a pelvic tilt. So I went here, I'd like the spine, here I'd like the spine. Look at the head control, there it is. Now I should be able to just roll. Now her hand's finally coming off the table. You don't want to go too far down because it'll be just a different roll, so you don't have the synchronization when you lock the pelvis. However, if she was, let's say, pregnant, I can come in here underneath the baby. Even if she's not pregnant anymore, this is a really nice lesson for those who've had a C-section. That's probably why you have pain in your lower back. So I can sit there and bring her uterus back into her body. Back into her body. And again, she might have not gotten over it, you know, just touching her here. For some people, you might see a little bit of that startle. Now I'm leaning this way, bringing the knee up, you feel the tilt. So now that I have this is my flat hand. This is where I start looking. You don't want to give someone a knuckle sandwich. That's not, hands hang down like this. You're going to go right into the tush. I'm secure against her. Right up that spine. Is this the douche upwards? Okay. Yeah, you want that, it's like a shot of pool. So if I was here, see, it's just not as nice. And see how the movements start. And this is something maybe you have to play with. Or if he does have hip dysplasia, or there's pins here, this is where you have to get intelligent and move your movement to match their system. If she has a scoliosis, I might have to honor the scoliosis, let's say, with my hand here, and then go here. So see how it's just a different, or if she's got, I can go all the way up. And then again, I just admire my work. Did it get any nicer? Did it get any better? But see now already the difference. Now she's in a much different position if I wanted to work on vision and stuff. But again, kids with CP, can you see how this is just not an experience that they're used to having? They're used to leg up, pelvis there, you know what I mean? It's not a synchronized movement. Sorry, I didn't mean to undo. And now if I wanted to, I could go back this way and bring that diaphragm. Again, in my intention of bringing it into the pelvis. Into the pelvis. Do you see it now more? But I can only do these kind of movements when I know someone's available. I can't go up to someone and go, oh, did you have a C-section? Oh, let me, you know what I mean? Everything's pleasurable. I get into her system, but if I don't make this pleasurable, I can't go into her and work on standing. Now at this point, I'd probably redirect and get a different pillow because I'd want that head to want to go more direct. But again, I'm not gonna. And now I can go up here in the back. This would be really good with your son. I can go up here in the back and see again. Now if someone has a scoliosis, they're learning much better how to work around the spine in rotation. That's more neutral than what they're used to. If it was a really bad scoliosis, I might even, let's say if this cue is going this way, I might actually prop underneath here so that spine has the support it needs. Or if it's the other way, I might prop more underneath the shoulder. So, but again, that's when you're only talking 50 and above with the curvatures. See how here, go to the lesson we just did. You can go to the foot lesson. Now hopefully you're starting to see where you have more of a menu, that now that this is integrated, that I can go into, maybe I want to go into the way the foot comes into standing. Then I can move here, let's say, and then work this way. See my pelvis? Foot into standing and foot into standing. But that's so much better than necessarily here or get, see already she's going in, you see how the contractions happen? I hope you're really seeing how I'm working with completely, quote, typical central nervous systems in a Doesn't take much, especially when they've let you in. At the same time, notice how, for whatever reason in that section, you violated. Yeah. Maybe she wasn't too happy at her birth that everybody was seeing her there. So anything down here, she's like, oh, I don't know. See again, now we got the walking and running, crawling. Again, now maybe she's 94 years old. I'm not expecting her to go around crawling on all fours to experience it, but I can see her brain's going if she had to. I was actually pretty lucky. I got to work with a woman that had, I forget how premature she was, and they were just like, she's gonna die, and they just left her. She was born on a farm, and I started doing this to her, and she's like, that's a different sensation to me, and I'm like, rolling? I've never rolled before, and I'm like, and that's when I found out her history. Now, she had a PhD, she was a nurse, and weeks later, she almost got hit by a car, and she's like, got all excited. She goes, thanks to you, I could jump. I've never jumped before, but when that car came at me, I just naturally jumped. See how the pelvis isn't locked at that same position, whereas before she was. So now at this point, maybe I can entertain the foot coming up, or I can go that. Or this might be enough for the lesson, and then next time that's when I can, depending on the child you're working with. That's when you look at the clock. If I only have 5 minutes late, do I want to sit there and do a life-changing movement? I might say, okay, I'll do something else and then next time. But if I have 15 minutes, then I can have another movement conversation with that person. But there's nothing more rude that I hate to be is suddenly seeing a kid doing something amazing and go, your time's up, see ya. And they're like, what? I try and come off that high too at the same thing as now see, you can see how nice the leg is. See just the first movement, now look at how her tonus changes. Boop, boop, boop.